Hi everyone. Got a good bunch of people here. Just the figures are still climbing up. I'm Nigel. Hi. Yes, someone can hear me. So I'll get you all to say hi, just so that I know that you're there. Your only way of communicating is through the chat, and my way of communicating is responding like this, and I will respond to what you put in the chat because I can see it as we go along. So please do use the chat. I'll post this another time, but please just use the chat. We have 30 minutes today. I'm saying that because one of the last webinars I did, someone said, "Oh, I thought we had a whole hour." I was disappointed when it all finished at 30 minutes. Because we have 30 minutes, I do tend to go quite quickly. So do be aware that it is a deep dive, but it's a kind of across the surface deep dive into a very specific topic, um, which is taking care of your mental health day to day. How do we maintain good mental health? Okay, good. So the numbers have slowed down, so let's get going. So I'm Nigel, psychological coach at Uprise. I'm a psychotherapist and counsellor, a supervisor of psychotherapists and counsellors, a trainer of psychotherapists and counsellors, and psychologists, and I do a lot of work with Uprise and with a range of other organisations. And I talk to a lot of people. My job is to talk to people all day, every day, and I've just been dealing with technical challenges because a lot of the talking I do is through technology, and so I need good internet, and that hasn't been provided to this point. My acknowledgement of country is Yam Gambangir Jagun, which is welcome to Gambangir country, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of these lands upon which I live, love, work, and play. The country of the Gambangir people. Hand over to you guys to acknowledge your local your local traditional owners. I pay my respects and express my gratitude to their elders, past, present, and emerging, for their continuing custodian. And welcome any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Island people who are here today. Welcome. So yes, please post your questions and responses and comments in the chat. Let's have a conversation. This is our warm up, and it's the questions are pretty straightforward. Don't think too deeply. And I know that there's going to be a challenge with this question, because the question I'm asking is, what do you do? What do you do in your life that feels good at the time and still feels good a day later? And what all of you will do is go, oh, this feels good. Does it feel good a day later? Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, the bag of chips that I ate, glass of wine that I drank, whatever else you might do that feels good at the time. My kids love watching video games. I think a lot of us like binging on Netflix. Does it feel good a day later? So we've got to tease those things out. We're going to talk about those in a moment, just to get them out of our system. But what feels good at the time and feels good a day later? Gardening, sleep, reading, stretch class, taking the dog to the beach, volunteering at an op shop, spending time with family, going to the gym. Doesn't feel good the next day, but 2-3 days later, you're like, yeah, I'm glad I went to the gym. Exercise, going to bed early, walking, reading. Okay, great. So you guys are already onto it. So this is a great. This is I would my time as a sports something. This question, I think, is the guide on this topic. What feels good at the time and feels good later? The answer to what looks after your mental health is if it feels good at the time, and if it feels good later, then you're probably taking care of your mental health, and we call it self-care. Walking, reading, sleep, gym, getting a massage. Yep. All right, so good. Let's move on from that one. Now just notice how many things that you thought of that feel good at the time but don't feel good a day later. Eating cake does feel good a day later, but I'm wondering how good. And I said a day later, but afterwards, what feels good at the time but doesn't feel good later. Because and you guys pop your answers in here. You're drinking alcohol. Great fun. How much fun is getting drunk and drinking alcohol? Nice, warm, buzzy feeling. How do you feel the next day? Not so great. A little bit woozy, a little bit dizzy. And then you think about the things that you did when you're drunk. Hopefully, for most of us, that's a time gone by, but it can still happen. Christmas, New Year's, various birthdays. and how, and how you sort of go, oh, did I do that? Did I say that? Did I really do that to that person? Drug taking, having sex feels great at the time, but often having sex with somebody that we don't know that well leaves us feeling pretty terrible after shopping. Shopping's like you get a high from shopping. There's a particular teacher around a trauma and a trauma response to addictions that talks about the high that we get from feeding our addictions. It can be addiction to food, it can be addiction to alcohol and other drugs, it can be addiction to shopping. We can get addictions to video gaming, get addictions to all sorts of things, and we get this high, so we get an endorphin rush, and it feels good at the time. But when we look back, it's like, it doesn't actually feel good. It might feel nothing. Like, I think video gaming, binging on Netflix, you can kind of go, felt good at the time, but neither feel good nor bad about it now. Sometimes it can feel bad. You go, oh, what a waste of time. But it actually hasn't done anything for us. Reacting without thinking, cancelling social events, particularly if you're left with guilt, the extra slice of cake. Staying up too late watching TV, Netflix, etc. Procrastinating, staying up late at night, whatever we're doing. So then people have touched upon the things that aren't fun at the time, and I think this is the exercise one. This is what I think of, but leaves you feeling good later, a day later or later. I think exercise is the big one here. Another one that I thought of, maybe you guys can think of others, is medicine. You take, that people talk about taking your medicine, and for whatever reason, unless they sugarcoat it, which they're starting to a lot more, medicines have traditionally tasted really bad. It is not fun taking your medicine, or taking herbs, or eating vegetables, things that are good for you. People tend to get excited about chocolate and sugar and salt, and not get too excited about fruit and vegetables and lean meats that aren't heavily flavored. Tackling that item on the to-do list that you've been avoiding, that's a great one. Absolutely. Doing the chores. Yeah, doing the chores, not fun. But then it's done. You're like, oh, I did the dishes. I've done the washing. I've mowed the lawns. I got up this morning and mowed the lawns. It's going to rain this afternoon. Got to get in there and mow the lawns. And it's like, this is really boring. I actually put my headphones in and I listen to an audiobook, and just kind of ups the enjoyment factor. It was enjoyable the first couple of times. Now it's just like, this is boring. But it's like, it's done. I get to look out and go, hey, it's done. This is good. Tackling that item on the to-do list that you've been avoiding. Any kind of delayed gratification, saying no to the good feelings in the moment to have good feelings later. Being hospitalized, cutting toxic people out of your life doesn't feel good at the time, but does lead to greater peace. Exercise, standing up for yourself, bawling your eyes out, having a good cry. Oh my gosh, in my work, you would not believe the number of people who say, I don't want to cry because I'm scared I'll stop. And I say, oh, when was the last time you cried? Oh, 1985, they say. And it's like, oh, really? You've gone that far without a good cry? Gosh, you must be all bottled up. Crying sucks. And a lot of people work really hard to cry. Most people who really can't cry, don't want to cry, is because they've been shamed out of crying. Crying doesn't feel good at the time, but boy, oh boy, does it leave you with a good emotional release. Yes, take the short-term pain, long-term gain. Touching base with people and friends. Yeah, you've got to sometimes make an effort to actually connect with people. You've actually sort of got to get up, go out, go and do that thing. Great. So those answers have pretty much covered off our entire webinar. So what feels good later? What can I do now? May not feel good, may not feel good now, but it's going to feel good later. And if you ask yourself, am I going to feel good about this later? And the answer is no, probably not. Then it's probably not good for your mental health. So day-to-day, prevention is the best cure. And this is our list. We're just going to run through it. Pretty simple stuff. What I want you to do is to think about, a lot of what I say is posed as questions on the slides, but what I want you to think about is, what are you doing already? What aren't you doing? What do you know that you could or should be doing? What's stopping you? And how might you, what might you add in or take away from your life so that you are taking care of your mental health day to day. So diet, exercise, this is like your top 5. This is, if you don't remember anything else about mental health, this is it. Diet, exercise, sleep, connection, meaning and purpose. You got those covered, you're living a good life. And a long one too. A long, satisfying, healthy life. So here's the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating. I was looking for images that I thought I'd be allowed to share, and there are all sorts of pies and charts and pyramids. And I thought, you know what? This is the Australian government standard. Not everybody will agree. There'll be the ketos and the paleos and people with different kinds of diets, and absolutely fine. I'm one of those people. You know, there's a whole massive grain section there that I need to stay away from. Doesn't work for me. Whole dairy section there that I need to stay away from. So individuals need different things. The important ones are at the bottom. It says down the bottom, use small amounts of oils, and only sometimes in small amounts. It's talking about juices, soft drinks, alcohol, fast food, and your fatty meats rather than your lean meats. Easter eggs in small amounts. Is somebody said, what? No, Easter eggs. Yeah, so apparently Easter eggs in small amounts. Does it feel good at the time? Yes. Does it leave you feeling good the next day? No. So there's your answer. I don't recommend. Somebody just said, how many hours of sleeping do you recommend? I don't recommend personally. I don't recommend amounts of sleep. You know, anything in science works on averages. So any answer you get from science is going to be like a percentage based standard deviation from the norm. And so you'll get like, you know, the normal amount of sleep is 8 hours a night, and that's what they recommend for most people. I don't go there. Everything is individual, even diet, sleep, level of physical activity. There are sort of recommendations based on norms and averages, and I'll give you some of those. And sleep's actually next, so we'll talk about sleep in a moment. We'll jump onto it. What do you need more of? What do you need less of in your diet? What do you know? For me, it's chippies. I love a bag of chips. I had a client a couple of weeks ago. He said, "Oh God, I sit down sometimes in front of the telly and I'll open a big bag of 200-gram chips and polish it off in one sitting." And I was in my head going, "Oh geez, I did." Isn't that normal? I do it all the time. So I probably need less potato chips in my diet. And then what do you need more of? You know, what do you need more of in your diet? Do you need more lean meats, more green vegetables, more fruits? Yes, it tends to be either chips or chocolate. Yeah, and water. Yeah, you can drink tons of water. There is a point where you overdo it, but yeah, anywhere between 1 to 3 liters a day if you're really active, even more than that, particularly in hot weather. Regular exercise. I'm going to come back to that hours of sleeping question. What physical activity do you or did you used to enjoy doing often? We had things that we loved to do that we don't do anymore. Sometimes we can't do them anymore. I used to love playing rugby union. Not a good idea for me to play rugby union anymore. That'd actually feel good at the time, but feel really bad later. So, you know, what physical activity do you do or did you enjoy doing, and what could you do more of towards feeling healthier? Something that I stopped doing was riding my bike. And it's interesting. So riding my bike, for me personally, I've got back issues. Like, it is painful at the time. It really hurts, but boy, do I feel wonderful afterwards. Yeah, morning and afternoon walks with the doggy. I've got a beach nearby. I love walking on the beach with the dog. Love going surfing with the kids. Love going bushwalking with the kids. All stuff that feels good at the time and feels good afterwards. So what could you be doing more of? Oops. Exercise changes with age. 62, keeping active. Yeah, that's great. What kind of exercise and how much? So this is the scientific recommendation that is specifically about physical activity for mental health. Yeah, so what kind of physical activity actually aids mental health? Now, the really fascinating thing about physical exercise is that it supports brain growth. So if you compare kids who don't exercise and kids that do exercise, the kids that do exercise, their brains get bigger and they get smarter. And in South Korea, this led to a government policy of enforcing increased levels of physical activity in schools because they wanted to have smarter kids. Okay, so what's good? 30 to 60 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week. So half an hour, 3 times a week is fine, and that shows the most mental health benefits. Brisk walking, not an idle stroll, so you need to sort of maintain a bit of a brisk walk. So you need a doggo that's going to be able to keep up with you, is enough. Things like brisk walking, jogging, even a slow jog is absolutely fine. Swimming, cycling, aerobics, dancing, that's your cardiovascular. And the point is that it gets your blood pumping, and it gets blood circulating around your system. And that's our blood cleaner. While we're just sort of sitting around watching telly or sitting at the computer or kind of doing slow, sitting in the car, ambulant things, our blood is just sort of pumping slowly through the system, and that's where stuff starts to build up, like in the arteries, and doesn't move so well, doesn't get cleaned. Whereas when we're exercising aerobically, the amount of blood pumping through our internal system radically increases. It gets cleaned. We breathe deeper. It gets oxygenated. Our brain gets oxygenated. All of the kind of the nutrients that we need are able to get best distributed. The muscles need to be used in order for them to get the nutrients that they need. So, and the more that you use all of your muscles, the better that kind of exercise is. Park further away. I used to get off the train 2 stops early, and I'd walk the rest of the way into the office. In terms of offices, take the stairs, just walk straight past the elevator, and you can feel it like, oh, I got my coffee and I'm tired. No, I'll just jump in the elevator because it's easy, and everyone else, oh, there's someone I know, I'll jump. Walk past the elevator, get into the stairs, and walk up. I used to walk up 12 flights of stairs, 12 levels. Strength resistance training has different positive benefits. This is more about what we call interoception or body awareness. It's the awareness of what's going on inside our bodies. We live in our heads. Even here now, we're all sitting looking at a screen. We're engaging our eyes. We're engaging our brains, and we're very good at kind of being able to think conceptually. It's like, we've got this body, and the only purpose of the body is to carry this brain around. And we forget that actually the body is a really important aspect of our existence, and it's a really important aspect of our experience. And actually, enjoyment of life is experienced through the body. Enjoyment of being alive is experienced in the body, not through the brain. And so it is important to be able to be aware of what's going on within our bodies, and things like weights training, yoga, Pilates, CrossFit is a good. It's a CrossFit. It's a good way of doing both. Calisthenics, gymnastics, rock climbing, Tai Chi, all of these bring greater awareness to how my body's moving and what's going on within my body, and brings a sense of peace and satisfaction. I've added here mindfulness and meditation. They're not. It is a kind of intentional mental engagement with the physical body. Most mindfulness activities, most meditations require you to go internally, to become aware of your physiology, your physical experience, and teach you how to tolerate stress without sort of shifting into kind of this hyper aroused. Really good stress tolerance is learned through mindfulness and intermediate meditation. And also breathing exercises. So good breathing exercise is box breathing. And it's just about controlling your breathing. Box breathing is when you breathe in for 3, hold for 3, breathe out for 3. And then you hold for 3 and breathe in for 3. And then you repeat that. You can do that for about 3 minutes. Really great at just bringing a conscious awareness to your bodily functions. They talk about the breath in particular being like a bridge between conscious and unconscious. There's things that unconscious just means things that we do automatically, and the breath is one of those things. We also blink, but the breath is one of the main things that we do unconsciously. You breathe when you're asleep, you breathe when you're unconscious, but you can also be very conscious about the way that you breathe. And so it sort of builds a bridge between your conscious waking mind and your autonomic system. People have mentioned build a good long-term relationship with your GP. That's some good advice. It's as you get older, I'd ignored that. I would have ignored that advice 10 years ago. I would have gone, you know what, I'm fit, I'm healthy, and I don't like doctors. But now I'm like, you know what, I've just had all these health issues catch up with me, and I've built a relationship with my GP, and I like him. He's a really nice guy, and he talks to me and he gives me time, and it just makes me feel so comforted to know that they've got my information and he knows what's going on in all the different aspects, and he's looking after me. It's a great feeling. I didn't have that before, so that's a good tip too. Monash University provides a wonderful free online mindfulness course that someone has completed, and they highly recommend it. Yes, fine, get access to this, Monash University. So sleep. So the question was, and we'll come to it, how many hours should you sleep? So putting that to the side for the moment, this is what you need to be focused on. You need to be focused on getting to sleep when you need to sleep. Actually, I'll answer the question. How many hours you need is how many hours you need, and we are all different. I have kids. I've got a kid under 10. He's just 10, and he wakes up every morning 6 a.m. I have a 15-year-old, and he won't wake up. He doesn't want to wake up. He doesn't want to crawl out of bed until after 10 or 11, particularly on holidays and only on weekends, and only gets up in time for school because he has to. And that's normal for a teenager. I used to love my sleep. I reckon I used to try for like 9-10 hours sleep. Nowadays, getting older, 7 hours I'm sleeping. If I think about it, sort of go to sleep, wake up. I started going to sleep early a few weeks ago. I started going to bed, I think one night, went to bed at 9 o'clock. One night was even 8:30, 4:30. I was up. And I was like, I'm not getting back to sleep. So whatever you need is what you need. And I've spoken to people who really worry and go, oh my God, I'm only getting 5 hours sleep a night, and I know I should get more. And I said, no, just whatever you need is you need. Don't force yourself to try and sleep when you're not sleepy. There's some great advice. I think I'm not sure where this comes from, but I think it might be kind of Taoist, Chinese medicine, kind of eat when you're hungry, drink when you're thirsty, sleep when you're tired. Great advice. If we could only do that in the lives that we've got. Create a bedtime routine. So, get your pajamas on, brush your teeth, turn off your screens, read a book, do whatever leaves you feeling sleepy. But number 3 is have a hot bath or a hot shower. There is actually research evidence that supports when your body goes from hot to cool when it cools down, then people tend to get sleepy and sleepier. So you can have a hot bath about an hour or half an hour before bed, or a really hot shower, and then when you get into bed, your body will naturally start to drop into sleep. Keep your bed for sleeping and sex and nothing else. Read a book, sure, but keep your screens out. Screens is the big killer of good sleep at the moment. Don't try too hard. 20 minutes, I reckon. If you're lying in bed trying to sleep for 20 minutes and you're not falling asleep, if you're thinking about something, get up and do something. Particularly if you're ruminating about something, go and write about it. Go and draw a picture of it. Do whatever you can to process whatever it is that's churning around in your brain. A lot of the time, we are ruminating about our interpersonal relationships, whether it's with a boss at work, with a colleague, with an employee, with a friend, with something else that we're involved in, with a family member. We're ruminating about the thing that they said and the thing that I said and the thing that I should have said. You know what? Go and write a script about all the things that you could have and would have said. Get it out of your head. Then go back to bed, try again. The other really good tip, I talk to people, particularly about people who go, oh, I love exercising in the mornings, but I haven't been sleeping well. So, I really need to get to bed early and get a good night's sleep so that I can get up and exercise in the morning. And I say to people, you've got it the wrong way around. That's not how it works. Doesn't matter how poorly you're sleeping, you force yourself. If you want to get up and do some exercise, you force yourself to get up early. You get up early, you do that exercise. Yes, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to be nodding off at your desk. Have a power nap. It's fine if you're able to do that. I used to power nap in one of my jobs most days, but then when it comes to sort of the end of the evening, you're tired, and then you go to bed early. Don't try and get an early night and then get up and do the exercise. Get up early on a regular basis. Do exercise if you can first thing in the morning. Expose your eyes to sunlight. Like the sunlight is what triggers your internal body clock. So as soon as your eyes are exposed to sunlight, then your body will go, right, 18 hours, 16 hours, you're going to sleep again. So force yourself to get up early. Connection. Connection is really key. Blokes in particular, we're not taught about connection. We don't think about connection. But when we get lonely, boy, do we get sad. We really crave being with someone who loves us. So how do you connect with others? I've put at the top of the list here, practice gratitude. Yeah, glass half full, glass half empty. Focus on the things that you've already got in your life, the people that you've got in your life. You've got it, your boss, your colleagues, and the people that work for you, the people that you see at the local shop, the have that you have, and friends that you have some communication. Streaming connection lost. Streaming connection recovered, so I should be back. So practice gratitude as much as you can. So what do you do to practice gratitude? What does that mean? You have a pad, a journal, you have a phone, you have a notes, you put gratitude, just write gratitude journal at the top every day. Make a point of writing down 3 things I'm grateful for. Today, I'm grateful for. Right now, I'm grateful for. And just make stuff up. Just find stuff to be grateful. I'm grateful that the sun's still shining. I'm grateful that COVID's less of a problem. I'm grateful I don't have to wear masks anymore. Perform acts of kindness. Oh my gosh, I'm running out of time in this webinar. Perform acts of kindness. Contribute to just do nice things for people. Contribute to your community. How can you participate? Somebody said that they were volunteering at an op shop and just go, oh my God, it just feels so good. Yes, it does. Be present in your relationships. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many people complain about their partners not being present. Just be present. What does it mean to be present? Practice some mindfulness, learn how to be present. Be mindful and present when you're within relationships. Teresa, I'll get you to put the link to the feedback in the chat. And risk vulnerability. That's a tough one, isn't it? Like, take a chance of sharing something of yourself. So this is the last one. This is the last of the 5. Live with meaning and purpose. And I'll just have to leave you with these questions. What do you believe life is? What is life? What's your faith? What's your belief? What's, even if science is your belief, well, what does that mean? A lot of people have a faith in science nowadays. What does that mean that you believe life is? What is life for? Why? What is the purpose for you of living? Why are you even here? A lot of people go, I don't know, gosh, I can't answer that one. Make something up, because it doesn't matter. It's your meaning, it's your purpose. Find it, make it up. What's important to you? What are your values? What do you get excited about? What interests you? What are you passionate about? Are you living in accordance with your values and beliefs? Are you living in a way that aligns with the things that you're interested, passionate, that you value, that are important to you? Are you living in a way that's aligned with what you believe life is for? If you do that, then you will have a sense of rightness within yourself. If you don't, you'll have this clash in your brain between this kind of gut instinct about what it is that you should be doing in life and all these messages that other people have imposed upon you about what they think life is, and you're living their life. Yeah, so many of us are living their life, the life that they want us to live, and that clashes with our own instinct or own sense of what life actually is, and that is a mental health catastrophe waiting to happen. So figure out what you believe, figure out what you value, and try and live in accordance with what you value and believe. A couple more bonus ones. We're out of time. Thanks for sticking with us. Yes, people have said no light sources in the bedroom, good idea. Communicate with others regularly in all modes. Yes, we use our technology to connect. And this is the last little tidbit. It's like a bonus. These are great lessons for life. Accept what you cannot control. Yeah. Number one on the list of things you can't control, by the way, is other people. You can't control what other people want. You can't control what other people say. You can't control what other people think. You can't control what other people do. So just accept it. Just let it be. And then take responsibility for what you can control and what you need to control and what's important to you. And then through all of that, if you believe that you are enough, and what I say to my clients who don't believe that they're enough, and I say, oh, any newborn baby, pick any newborn baby born anywhere in the world, the day that that baby is born, the moment that baby is born, can you say that that baby isn't enough? That there's something wrong with that baby, that they're insufficient in some fundamental way? And everyone says, no, there's no way that's just a newborn baby. They're innocent. Okay, that's you. You are that newborn baby because you are one of every one newborn baby, and you, therefore, by definition, are enough. Believe it. Okay, thanks everyone. Take care. Enjoy your day. Thanks for sharing in the chat.